Hey, LeBron James, what's up? It's the Culture Detective here, investigating your favorite albums. And today I'm going to be doing an album review on the new King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard album. Ice, Death, Planets, Lungs, Mushrooms, and Lava. So King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard is the one and only Australian super band. They have been coming out with music for a little bit over a decade now, but this, ladies and gentlemen, is their 20th studio album. For every single year, aside from 2018, they have pretty much pumped out an album after another, and they have pretty much touched on all sorts of genres you can name of, all the way from psych rock to dream pop to electronic music, Turkish house to country folk to funk to metal to stoner metal, death metal, whatever. They have tried everything. And this time around, they are going to release 3 albums. And not to forget that earlier this year, they have already released a metal album called Omnium Gatherum, which I thought had some highlights here and there, but didn't shock me or anything. But in October alone, King Gizzard will be releasing 3 studio albums back to back every single week. And the first album out of this trilogy is Ice, Death, Planets, Lungs, Mushrooms, and Lava. And on this album, they try to go for a full-on jazz rock album. Now, what's special about this title is that this title, if you take the first letter of each word here, I, D, P, L, M, L, you're going to have the 6 modes of Western music, apparently. So I guess on this album, they also try to mess around with those modes. This album has 7 tracks, but it is 1 hour and 3 minutes long, so we have very lengthy tracks here. Starting off, we have the track Mycelium, which has the fun laid-back chords, the groovy keys, and the carefree trumpets, and also the bwop 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 guitars. The first minute or so sounds pretty pleasant, but unfortunately, this album opener is a little bit underwhelming because this instrumental palette pretty much stays the same throughout the entire duration of the track, and it just ends up sounding kind of basic and stale, especially given that King Gizzard is such a versatile band that's really well known for how progressive and crazy their music can be. Luckily, the next track, Ice 5, is insanely great. Ice 5 is a 10-minute long funky awesomeness track. It starts off with the talk box vocals, the drums are incredibly tight, we also get flutes here, and if you know me, you know that if I hear flutes in an album, it's an automatic thumbs up from me. I love hearing flutes, especially in a jazz rock context, and I also like the lyrics, will we survive Ice 5? Will we survive Ice 5? This is not the first time King Gizzard has written something very environmentally conscious. I mean, just check out the album Fishing for Fishies. But I kind of like how jazzy and laid back it is, while still lyrically being kind of anxiety inducing. The next track, Magma, has a lot more suave and is a lot more laid back. The hushed vocals in the beginning build up to some really insane and fiery solos, and I also really love the Arabic musical influences on this track, which I think is one of their best strong suits. And then that is followed with, I think, the mildest track on the album, Lava. It has some weirdly off-key pianos, and they pretty much persist for a bulk of the track. And then I feel like there's a climax at the end of the track, but it's sort of tacked onto this track, and it just didn't really work out all that much. The next track, Hell's Itch, is 13.5 minutes long, and even with that crazy length, there's not much in terms of change and progression and dynamic on this track. The same chords are being used throughout the whole track, and it gets really repetitive really fast. The next track, Iron Lung, has clearer instrumentals, which I really like, and groovy funky guitars, cool icy keyboards. The saxophones are fantastic, and once again, we have the flutes. I also like the really catchy high-pitched refrains. Iron long, and the whole track is just very chilled. It's very cool. It's very calm and collected, and I really like that. And the album ends off with Glee 710, which is, I guess, the name of a planet. The Arabic musical influences come back for a little bit, but I think the influences are not utilized in the best way possible. And overall, as far as an album ending goes, it's just fine. I don't think it's that great or anything. And I'm just gonna leave it at that. I think the new King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard album has ambition. I like the concept. I like how weird and quirky and planetary this album is. But the problem is that a lot of the tracks are real long and they're a little bit repetitive. And I also really wish to see King Gizzard go even a step further. Like, yeah, the album is full of quirks. It's full of these weird planets, death, lava stuff, and I think that's really cool. But I want to see them go even further with a different style or with the same style, but just, you know, a step forward, essentially. So, yeah, I am giving the new King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard album Ice, Death, Planets, Lungs, Ice, Death, Planets, Lungs, Mushrooms, and Lava, a 6 out of 10. So, have you listened to the new King Gizzard album? For wanting to know, just rate it, like, and through everyone more, and thanks for watching. I'll review the new Always and the new Open Mike Eagle very soon.